Hello everyone, welcome back to Lost Worlds. Thank you for the support so far. Do like, share, and subscribe for more such content. By doing so, you give us the confidence to bring out more and more topics every week. Today, let's learn about the city of Alexandria. Let's jump right in. He was 25 years old, and he had already run out of countries to conquer. In 331 BC, Alexander the Great stood on the Egyptian coast and looked at a stretch of empty shoreline between the Mediterranean Sea and Lake Mareotis. No city, no harbor, just sand, heat, and the blue edge of the world. He said, "Build my city here." He didn't stay to watch it happen. He had Persia to defeat, India to reach, a world to conquer. He drew the outline of the city himself, using grain because he had no chalk, then left. He never came back. He died in Babylon 8 years later, at 32, having never seen the city that would bear his name for the rest of human history. But the city was built anyway, and what rose from that empty shore over the next 3 centuries became the most extraordinary city the ancient world had ever seen. It was called Alexandria. For 300 years, it was the capital of the known world, the center of science, philosophy, trade, and power, the city that knew everything. And then it was lost. Before you understood Alexandria, you saw it. The Pharaoh's Lighthouse, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, stood between 100 and 140 meters tall, making it the second tallest human structure on Earth after the Great Pyramid. For over 1,000 years, it burned at the top, guiding every ship on the Mediterranean into Alexandria's harbor. It was completed around 247 BC, under Ptolemy II, the same ruler who founded the library. The 2 buildings were built at the same time, which tells you everything about what Alexandria's rulers valued: knowledge and commerce, light and learning. The lighthouse wasn't just a navigational aid, it was a symbol. The message to every ship approaching from the sea was clear: you are approaching the greatest city in the world. Ancient visitors described a mirror at the top. Some said bronze, some said glass. They could reflect the sun's light so powerfully, it could be seen from hundreds of miles away, and could reportedly set enemy ships on fire. The lighthouse survived for over 1,500 years. Then 2 earthquakes, in 1303 and 1323, destroyed it completely. Its remains fell into the sea. In 1994, underwater archaeologists found them: blocks of granite, columns of red aswan stone, a colossal statue, lying on the seabed where they had rested for 700 years. The greatest lighthouse in history is still there. It's just 8 meters underwater. The Library of Alexandria was not a library, not in any sense the word means today. It was the most ambitious intellectual project in the history of the human species. Its goal, stated explicitly by the rulers who funded it, was to collect a copy of every book ever written, every scroll, every text, in every language, from every civilization, everything humanity had ever learned, in one place. To achieve this, the Ptolemaic kings instituted a law: every ship that docked in Alexandria had to surrender any scrolls it was carrying. The library scribes would copy them, a process that could take days. The copies went back, the originals stayed. Ships from Greece, Rome, Persia, Babylon, India, Carthage, all of them, all their knowledge, flowing into this building. At its peak, scholars estimate the library held between 400,000 and 700,000 scrolls. Consider what that means. By comparison, the largest medieval European library, Canterbury Cathedral, 12 centuries later, held around 2,000 books. The library was attached to the Museon, from which we get the word museum, a university and research institution housing the greatest minds of the ancient world simultaneously, funded by the king. Free to think. Here is what they thought. Euclid wrote the foundational text of geometry here. His proofs are still taught in schools today, unchanged, 2,300 years later. Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of the Earth here, and he was right to within 1%. 1,800 years before Columbus sailed west, not knowing if the world was round. Aristarchus proposed here that the Earth orbited the Sun, 1,800 years before Copernicus got credit for the idea. Hero of Alexandria invented a working steam engine in the 1st century AD, 1,700 years before the Industrial Revolution. The library's chief librarians included Eratosthenes himself and Aristophanes of Byzantium, who invented the system of punctuation you are reading right now. Every comma, every full stop, invented here. The world we live in, its science, its mathematics, its literature, its geometry, its punctuation, was largely assembled in this building, by these people, in this city. And then it was gone. Cleopatra VII is one of the most famous people in human history. She is also one of the most misunderstood. She was not primarily known for her beauty. Ancient sources consistently emphasize her intelligence and her voice above everything else. Plutarch said that hearing her speak was like being played a many-stringed instrument. She was the first Ptolemaic ruler in 300 years to learn Egyptian. Think about that. Her family had ruled Egypt for 3 centuries. None of them had bothered to learn the language of the people they governed. Cleopatra spoke 9 languages: Egyptian, Greek, Latin, Ethiopian, Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, Parthian, Median. She was not primarily a beauty. She was the most educated and intellectually formidable ruler the ancient world had produced in a generation. She was also inheriting a disaster. When Cleopatra came to power in 51 BC, the Ptolemaic kingdom was in terminal decline. Rome had been growing for 2 centuries. Egypt was effectively a Roman client state, kept alive only because Rome couldn't agree on who should take it. Cleopatra's strategy was brilliant, dangerous, and ultimately fatal. She would make herself indispensable to the most powerful man in Rome. She was 21 years old, and she was playing for the highest stakes in the ancient world. She understood something most people in her position didn't, that Alexandria's only protection was its irreplaceability. As long as Rome needed the city, its grain, its trade, its knowledge, Rome wouldn't destroy it. The moment it became replaceable, it was finished. She spent the rest of her life trying to prevent that moment. She failed, but barely. And the story of how she failed is one of the greatest stories in human history. In 48 BC, Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria. He was chasing his defeated rival Pompey, who had just been murdered on orders of Cleopatra's younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. Caesar was furious. He declared martial law. Cleopatra was in exile, driven out by her brother. She needed to reach Caesar. His guards would kill her if she walked in openly. So she had herself smuggled into the palace, rolled up in a carpet, or a linen sack. Ancient sources disagree on the vessel. Whatever the container, the meeting worked. Caesar was captivated. He sided with Cleopatra, installed her as queen, and stayed in Alexandria for months, far longer than any military commander should have in the middle of a civil war. During those months, there was a fire. Caesar may have ordered ships in the harbor burned to prevent their use against him. The fire spread to the docks. Ancient sources say scrolls stored in warehouses near the harbor were destroyed. Whether this was the destruction of the Library of Alexandria has been debated for 2,000 years. The answer is probably not entirely. But it was the beginning of the end. Caesar eventually left. He was assassinated in Rome in 44 BC. Cleopatra had a son by him, Caesarion, Little Caesar, the last hope of a dynasty. After Caesar's assassination, power passed to three men: Octavian, Lepidus, and Mark Antony. Antony summoned Cleopatra to answer for her conduct during the Civil War. She arrived on a golden barge with silver oars, purple sails, and herself dressed as Aphrodite, surrounded by boys dressed as cupids and women dressed as sea nymphs. He had summoned her to account. She arrived as a goddess. He never recovered. For over a decade, Antony and Cleopatra ruled the Eastern world together from Alexandria. They were both brilliant and both reckless. Antony neglected Rome. Octavian, the future Augustus Caesar, used this to turn Rome against them. In 31 BC, at the Battle of Actium, Octavian's fleet destroyed their combined forces. Antony died in Alexandria. Cleopatra tried to negotiate with Octavian. When she realized he would parade her through Rome in chains, she committed suicide. She was 39. The last independent ruler of the last great independent city of the ancient world was gone. Here is the question everyone asks: who destroyed the Library of Alexandria? Here is the honest answer: nobody destroyed it, and everybody destroyed it. Caesar's fire in 48 BC damaged harbor warehouses, possibly some overflow storage. The main library survived. The Emperor Aurelian destroyed large sections of the royal quarter in 270 AD during a military campaign. How much of the library was damaged? Unknown. In 391 AD, the Christian Emperor Theophilus ordered the destruction of the Serapeum, a temple complex housing a daughter library. Definitely destroyed. The Arab conquest in 641 AD. A famous story says the Caliph Omar ordered the books burned. If they agree with the Quran, they are unnecessary. If they disagree, they are dangerous. Most historians believe this story is a later fabrication. But something happened. By 641 AD, whatever remained was gone. The real cause was simpler and sadder than any single villain. The world that had created the library, wealthy, curious, free, cosmopolitan, at peace, stopped existing, and the library died with it. The ancient city didn't burn into oblivion. It sank. Over centuries following the Arab conquest, earthquakes and land subsidence caused large sections of ancient Alexandria to slip beneath the sea. The royal quarter, the palaces, the Mausion, the library district, now lies 6 to 8 meters underwater in the eastern harbor of modern Alexandria. In 1994, French underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudiot found it. Thousands of artifacts, sphinxes, statues, columns, granite blocks, lying exactly where they fell, preserved by the sea that drowned them. Alexander the Great's tomb has never been found. It may be beneath the streets of a city of 5 million people who walk above it every day. What we lost is incalculable. The works of Aristotle that survived are believed to be roughly a third of what he wrote. Sophocles wrote 120 plays. 7 survived. Euripides wrote 92. 19 remain. We will never know what we lost. That's the worst part. But here is what survived. The idea that knowledge should be gathered, preserved, and made available to everyone. That the best use of wealth and power is to fund the asking of questions. That a city's greatest achievement is not its armies or its walls, but its minds. Alexandria invented that idea. Every library in the world is its descendant. Every university, every archive, every search engine. The Library of Alexandria burned, slowly, by degrees, over centuries. But what it stood for is still burning. We built it again. We just don't call it Alexandria anymore. Subscribe to Lost Worlds at Lost Worlds 9 and do comment what I should be reconstructing next. See you again soon!